Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's your brother Nafis Abu Zayd.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Is it Isa Abu Isa?
Naam, alhamdulillah.
This is another episode of the program which we call The Night Shift. And we came up with this program to defend Islam, the sunnah, what we call salafiyyah, from cult characteristics, partisanship, which is hizbiyyah, and extremism, which is haddadiyyah.
The following is you get ready to listen to, inshallah. We're not on 37 P's, 37. The following you get ready to listen to is Sheikh Uthman. This is Sheikh Khalid Abdur Rahman Uthman al-Misri. Hafidhahullah ta'ala.
حين ينشغل أهل السنة بعضهم ببعض ولا يستطيع أن يقيم الجارح حجة على جرحه فإن هذا في الحقيقة يضعف دعوة.
So the Sheikh said when Ahl Sunnah become busy with one another and the one criticizing is incapable to produce evidence for his criticism, then this in reality weakens the call of Ahl Sunnah. This in reality weakens the call of Ahl Sunnah.
ثم يأتي الشباب ويبنون على ذلك الولاء والبراء.
Then comes some youth and they build upon that, meaning having allegiance, which is al-wala, and then dissociation, al-bara. They build upon the fact of unclear criticism, which is known as jah. They build upon the fact, and we touched on this before with Sheikh Rabi's letter to Sheikh, the Sheikh Fala al-Harabi, not having criticism, clear, convincing evidence. They build upon this. But the Sheikh is bringing a point. He said that all of this makes Ahl Sunnah looks weak.
And the thing about it, you need the reason for the criticism and the proof for it.
يقول لماذا لم تجرح فلان؟ أنت ملحق به لأنك ترضى بما هو عليه. يا أخي.
So he said it might be safe, it'd be said, why did you refute so-and-so? Why did you criticize so-and-so? Fulan or Alan. And it would be said because so-and-so aligned himself, he make ilhaq, he associate himself with someone who is questionable. Someone who is might not be so forth that they might be questionable. So he's guilty by what we call guilty by association. He said, brother, he praises him because a criticism against him has not been established according to him. So he says to this individual, so-and-so praises this individual because he claims that the individual he's praising, the criticism has not reached him.
عنده جرح فيه والجرح الذي أنت تنسبه لم يقم دليل عليه عند.
He said, and the criticism that you are attributing, meaning to the one you are criticizing, has not even been established with evidence, with the one opposing you in your criticism. So, in other words, the person who doesn't accept your jah, your evidence is not even clear to him. Your criticism is not even clear to him, but you are making him guilty by association for hanging with someone that you criticize.
No, exactly. That to him, your criticism isn't clear to him. Your proof hasn't been the two things, reason and proof hasn't been established that individual.
مخالفك فكيف تلحقه بذاك المنحرف وهو أصلا لا يرى أن عند.
So he says, so how then do you align yourself with this one, associate yourself with the one you criticize with that deviant, while he, to begin with, does not see him to carry those principles? So he don't consider him to be a deviant.
Exactly.
But he said, why are you aligning yourself with this mubtadi', this deviant?
ولذلك تأمل إلى قول الإمام أحمد كما رواه أبو يعلى بالسند الصحيح إلى أبي داود السجستاني صاحب السنن.
He said, so let's ponder over the statement of Imam Ahmed. And we all know who Imam Ahmed is. rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh. And it had been narrated by Abu Dawood in his Sunan al-Sijistani about what happened or transpired with Imam Ahmed.
لأحمد رجل يماشي.
He said, I said to Ahmed, a man from Ahl Sunnah, walking with a man upon deviation, should I align him in his minhaj with him? Listen what he's saying, Yarhamakallah. Listen to what he's saying. He said to Imam Ahmed, I saw so-and-so walking with a deviant. Should I now make so-and-so that I saw? For example, I saw Isa walking with a Sufi. Should I now make Isa minhaj be in accordance with the same minhaj of a Sufi?
إلى أبي داوود السجستاني صاحب السنن قال قلت لأحمد رجل
No. So let's go.
يماشي رجل من أهل السنة.
So he said, Imam Ahmed responded and said, no. It may be that the person doesn't even know that this person is upon deviation. So Imam Ahmed said, no. For example, no, we don't know if Isa know that the Sufi that he's walking with is upon Sufism, is upon deviation.
Is it possible that it could be his father, his uncle, his brother?
That can be possible, but watch what Imam Ahmed say.
يماشي رجلا من أهل البدع. رجل من أهل السنة يماشي رجلا من أهل البدع. فقال أبو داود ألحقه به. قال لا، لعله لا يعرف بدعته، أي أنه قد يماشيه ولا يلحق به حين لم يعلم ثبوت البدعة عنه.
Meaning, the Sheikh said, now he comments on the statement of Imam Ahmed. He said, it may be possible that he is walking with someone, however, he is not aligned with him. Meaning, you do not join, for example, Isa minhaj with the minhaj of the Sufi. Because it can be possible that he is unaware of the evidence that have been established against him for his innovation.
قال فبينت له.
So now, Abu Dawood, he responds to Imam Ahmed. He said, so what if I clarify to him his deviation? What if I clarify to him that, this is the punch? Should I do this, clarify to him? And he refused not to walk with him. Should he clarify it to him? So then he refused not to walk with him.
فأبى إلا أن يماشيه. يعني بينت له بالحجة جرح.
Meaning that I tell him, for example, I say, Isa, I bring the evidence against this particular Sufi, and do you refuse to walk with him?
فسر ببرهان.
But this evidence I bring to you is detailed criticism, but it doesn't have no clear evidence. Detailed criticism. This is the same thing, brothers and sisters, that we talked about, what Sheikh Rabi' said to Sheikh Falah. He told him that he had to bring asbabu muqni'ah. And for those who don't know, muqni'ah here, not only do the proofs, the evidence have to be convincing, they have to be absolute clear.
Yeah.
No one should have to, look and search through it. It should be crystal clear, the evidence that you're bringing.
Nah.
Right?
Shouldn't leave any doubt about the situation.
It shouldn't leave no doubt afterwards about the situation. Hassan.
يا فلان فلان عنده أصل فاسد ينفي رؤية.
So he says to the person, that so-and-so is a fasiq. He's a corrupt individual. And look what he said he does. He says he rejects the seeing, the ru'ya, seeing Allah Azza wa Jal on the Day of Judgment, for example.
SubhanAllah.
And for those who don't know, you can refer back to our brother Ali Davis' class on the proper way of understanding bid'ah. And one of the things he mentioned in there is about the usul. This issue here is from the foundations that is agreed upon with the Salaf, that anyone who denied the seeing
of Allah
Azza wa Jal, this here is deviancy, no doubt about it. Or he declares someone to be a disbeliever due to his sins, sort of like the Khawarij.
Yeah, like the Khawarij. Yeah.
Again, these are still major issues.
Yeah, usuli issues.
سمعه فلان الثقة يقول كذا أو قرأت في كتابه يقول كذا أو سمعته أنا يقول.
He said, or so-and-so who is trustworthy heard him say that. Now he's going through a third party. So-and-so related to me, I deem so-and-so, the third party, to be trustworthy. They said that I read in his book, or I myself heard him. Right? Make this statement. Now listen to Imam Ahmed, because this is the shahid.
قال فإن بينت له فأبى إلا أن يماشيه قال ألحق به.
So, Imam Ahmed said, if you have clarified to him and he has refused to walk, and he has refused not to walk with him, then align him in his minhaj with him. Meaning, if you have clarified it with clear evidence, clear detailed evidence, that it's not, there's no ambiguity in it, there's nothing confusing about it, and he does not take that because it's clear, then you do not walk with him.
Before you start, it has to be an issue that the Salaf had ijma' upon. Not something that they differed over and you just don't agree with the brother doing it. Because if it's ikhtilaf amongst the scholars in it and he chose to take another position, that doesn't make him a deviant because he's not on your position. What makes people deviants is when they go against the asl, foundational principles in the religion that all the Salaf agreed upon was from the aqidah or from the actions of the religion. Not something that scholars differ over and you just don't agree with the brother.
بينت له فأبى إلا أن يماشيه قال ألحق به. ففي الحقيقة وهي القاعدة الرابعة متى يلحق الرجل.
So in reality, and he said, and it is the fourth principle, when is a man aligned with who he praises from the deviants? And it is the top of making ilhaq, aligning, association, people alongside others from deviants, which in reality many of the youth have gone extreme in. So the Sheikh here is censoring individuals because so-and-so is seen with so-and-so that might have some deviancy. Right? He might be an innovator. It doesn't give a person the right to automatically align that person minhaj with him.
He might be advising him.
That can be possible. It might be his relative. It's another thing that's possible.
Yeah.
Might be his, it might be a cousin, a family member, right? It might be his occupation. He might be going. He might be his boss, or it might be a person that that works for him. Either way, it still doesn't mean he's upon the same thing that individual is upon. Big mistake.
بمن يثني عليه من المنحرفين وهي قضية الإلحاق التي في الحقيقة توسع فيها كثير من الشباب فما أن يختلف العلماء في شخص ما إلا ويبدأ هذا يلحق.
So he says it is not that the scholars differ regarding a particular individual, except that this one that he aligns in his minhaj alongside the criticized one, all those who are in agreement with him, while using the principle of al-ilhaq as evidence.
المجروح كل من وثق بحجة الإلحاق حنانيك أوردها سعد.
The Sheikh said relax. He's telling the youth relax.
سعد مشتمل ما هكذا.
So the translator note is that the Sheikh then mentioned a parable used by the Arabs of old to describe one who takes to a task and does not accomplish it in an appropriate manner. Wallahi, tallahi, wallahi, brothers and sisters, throughout the past 15 years or so, with our beloved brothers being at the forefront or the head of the dawah, so as they claim to be here in the West, and we're not negating any of the good that the brothers have done, whether it's from translating books, whether it's teaching us from the aqa'id of Ahl Sunnah wa Jama'ah, whether it's teaching us, from the conditions of the prayers, whether it's connecting telelinks with the ulama. We're not negating any of that. We're talking about the things that take place outside of that. We're talking about the unwanted and unprecedented criticism outside of that. We're talking about the behavior that the scholars are unaware when they go around them, they place this face on. Now that the scholars are aware now, henceforth they can't get a ready-made fatwa like back in the day. There's no more of that jumping off. There's no more, let's call so-and-so and let's get him rutted out with a general statement.
Nah.
There's no more of that. So here you see that the sheikh, this is what we're talking about with the brothers that had the dawah for years. They have been criticizing individuals, whether they be from the tulab, whether they be from the lay persons. And they have been making general statements without any rough detail evidence.
It's not convincing at all.
It's not convincing. And it's not even clear. If it was clear and it was convincing, no one would argue it. There wouldn't be no argumentation. Not everybody can say, well, I dislike the brothers. I'm trying to get fame off their name by making these YouTube videos. I'm trying to, I'm just trying to be with everybody that hate them. That isn't the case. If everyone is telling you for the last 15 years that everyone that they mainly talked about, they only spoke about him in a general sense, either to a statement he made, even if he was in a masajid or masjid, this is what you see. Brothers and sisters, the next thing that we're getting ready to read is taken from an article. And many of you already know the brother. His name is Abu Aliyah, the White Battle. I want you to listen to the words. Not so keep your sentiments, what you have against the brother, but listen to the actual words. This is a chapter from his article called The Propagandists Masquerading the Salafi Dawah Here in the West. Just listen to the argument, because we take evidence and we take something that's going to allow us to think.
He says, verdicts by association. This is the name of the chapter.
Chapter 37, verdicts by association. Let's go back again to il-haq biduni dawabin.
Exactly.
Let's go back to what the Sheikh was just saying. Aligning people minhaj with others without clear evidence. This goes back to this. Guilty by association.
It says the verdict by association, fallacy, tangles the process of fairly evaluating an idea, person, or group by interjecting irrelevant and misleading negative material.
Stop right there. So for those who don't know, basically, a person concept, a person mind, or what a person think of someone, whether it's an idea, a group, organization.
Exactly.
If that information is misleading, right, and it's shed in a negative light, it's hard for you to now make a judgment call that is going to be fair.
Exactly.
Why? Because it's a propaganda tactic.
CNN does it all the time. They do it all the time. It's the same tactics. This practice tries to connect beliefs or persons to something unsavory or untrustworthy in order to discredit them. For example, they come and they try to connect individuals who are outside of their group or their cult or his to misleading or bad behaviors when it's not even true. They make blanket statements, general statements about an individual, and people can't make correct judgments because it's always cloudy. If you look at all the statements our brothers have made, Somali, Hassan, Maalik, Kaashif, Khaan, Abu Khadeejah, they're general statements about people's honor with no proof. And we take them hook, line, and sinker, as if the people they're talking about are not Muslims and don't have right to defend themselves or for us to investigate to see if their honor is being attacked or slandered. We have to fear Allah too. And it says that the height of this technique is the unrestricted attribution of a verdict to any individual because of the people or organization with which he visits, rather than the crime he committed without fair reason or an excuse. We'll stop here for an example. Someone goes is the technique is this. If you see me go to a place, a masjid, and this happened to me personally. I went to a masjid wasatiyah, which they consider not to be a so-called Salafi masjid, which those brothers in there are calling to the sunnah, and the people who are teaching there are people of the sunnah. But I was seen in the masjid for Jummah. One of our brothers went back and told the brothers up Germantown and those brothers there that I seen Abu Isa for Jummah and wasatiyah. So basically, what he's trying to say is he connected me with those people who they consider not to be on the sunnah by me being there for Jummah. But guess what? The only way he saw me there for Jummah is that he was there for Jummah.
Can you go back to mention that point that he mentioned before?
I gotta get back. There you go.
No.
And he says, the hype of this technique is the unrestricted attribution of a verdict to any individual because of the people or organization with which he visits, rather than the crime he committed without fair reason or excuse.
I want to make a differentiation here because this is what the author is doing. Our beloved brother Abu Ali is making a differentiation between the actual crime, meaning here whatever the reason here that the person did, whatever he did, that they claim that he did, and the actual what?
Reality.
Reality.
Yeah.
No, it's the crime.
The crime. He hasn't committed a crime.
Right?
He hasn't committed a crime.
So what they do is, without fair reason or excuse, they're going to make a propaganda and attack him.
Exactly.
But he have not committed a crime, meaning they don't mention the crime. They don't mention the evidence.
They don't.
And we got to go back now to Tahir Wyatt. There are links that are going around that has been circulating with general statements that have been made by Sheikh Rabi'. And I have to go back to this statement here. Sheikh Rabi', none of you brothers or sisters ever heard Sheikh Rabi' say what these brothers are saying about Tahir Wyatt. None of you ever heard it. And I challenge, and that's why we said that this is a challenge, and this is a video here that we're not going to keep dragging out. We challenge all of the brothers. Abu Hassan Maalik. We challenge Hassan Somali. We challenge Abu Khadeejah. We challenge Hamzah Razzaaq. We challenge Kaashif Khaan. We challenge Anwar Wright. We challenge Jamil Finch. We challenge all of these brothers that made a mixtape about Tahir Wyatt. We challenge each of you brothers to produce convincing evidence other than statements that are general, as we seen what Sheikh Ruhaili said. Taking my statement and applying it to someone, right, out of context. You have to fear Allah because you're going to have to answer to Allah Jalla wa Ala for that. That's a crime. We challenge you brothers to respond legitimately with convincing evidence. Not so-and-so is with this organization, so-and-so is with this particular person. No, we challenge you. And you're going to see why we're going to challenge you, inshallah ta'ala.
It says, for example, a new Muslim walks in from the streets and prays in a masjid considered to be a Hizbi, partisan, non-Salafi, etc. masjid. Would it be fair and just to call him a Hizbi when the masjids are the house of Allah? Another common example, flavor from Salafi publications and its subsidiary franchises. It is the updates of mosques that are Sunni educators to teach. They hire Sunni educators to teach.
Stop right there. Tahir Wyatt, whenever he entered the city, we get calls from brothers, from the noble brothers, the respected brothers. They know about his whereabouts, his movements, even before we do. Meaning I'm nobody. But how do you know about his whereabouts and his movements if you're supposed to be busy, as Kaashif Khan say, we don't got time to pay attention to YouTube fame seekers because we're busy teaching our communities? Then why do you know when Sheikh Tahir is going to give a lecture? No. Why do you know how do you know when Mufti Muhammad Munir is going to be talking here, or going to be talk here, or Ali Davis is going to be speaking here? How do you know these things? Why are you following them up? This is what he's saying here. Why is you worrying about people who take jobs because they're from Ahlul Sunnah? They take jobs with masajids or places that you deem that might not be Salafi or might not be what you deem they might be Hizbis. But they take these jobs and you know about them before anyone else does. And you go back and inform the people. This is some FBI agent type of stuff.
No.
This is some investigating stuff that's not cool.
No,
why would you go investigate on people like that?
And then on top of that, some spying and suspicion is sin.
Allah made it clear.
Yeah.
In the ba'd al-dhanni ithm. Really, some suspicion is what? Sin.
It's sin. And then on top of that, the brothers who take the jobs at these so-called non-Salafi masjids, we're still waiting for the conditions of what's a Salafi masjid. We're still waiting for that reply. But brothers who take these jobs at these masjids, you telling me that it's not okay to teach ignorant Muslims what the sunnah is? As long as there's no restrictions?
Before we go into that, listen what Shaykh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, who all of the brothers, us and the brothers we just named, all of them agree on taking from Shaykh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. Let's let the common lay people hear what Shaykh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah say about this.
He said, Allah ordered unity and harmony and prohibited innovation and fragmentation, as Allah states, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ فَرِّقُوا دِينَهُمْ كَانُوا شِيعًا لَسْتَ مِنْهُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ. He says, and verily those who divide their religion and break up into sects, you have no concern in them in the least. The Prophet ﷺ said, you must stick to the Muslim body. Allah's hand is with the Muslim body. The Prophet ﷺ said, Satan is close to the loner, but more distant from two. It is a must for the Muslim who goes to a city where Muslims reside to pray Jum'ah as well as the congregation with them. Moreover, the Muslim must help the Muslims and not fight against them, even if he sees some of them following misguidance or are misled. If this Muslim has the ability to guide them and show them the correct path, then he must. Otherwise, Allah does not burden a soul greater than it can bear. If the Muslim has the ability to help those misguided Muslims by becoming their imam in their masjid, then this is the best help.
Let's repeat that again at the end. If the Muslim has the ability to help those misguided Muslims, who you call Hizbis and Ikhwanis and so forth, and it might not even be those hooks might not even be applied on them.
Yeah.
First of all, you're not even qualified or deemed enough, have the necessary knowledge to do that. But you call them that by becoming their imam in their masjid. If they have the ability to do so, what Shaykh Islam say here?
Then this is the best help.
This is the best help.
This is Ibn Taymiyyah.
This is Shaykh Islam and Taymiyyah. Individuals what? Doing what? Here can what? Help out.
Nah.
If they have the ability to do so.
If they have the ability.
None of the scholars understand, and even Shaykh Uthman, for those who don't know, the Shaykh, he also mentioned that if he was invited to any masajid that was not on the dawah, for example, he would go, as long as there's no restrictions. This is what we get from the ulama. I don't know where you get. Sheikh Rabi', as Mufti mentioned, and it is well known, he was invited to the Sufis in Sudan. He didn't turn down the invitation.
He gave the khutbah.
He gave the khutbah. And he refuted the shirk with the ayats of shirk in the Quran.
No. And they loved him afterwards.
Who doesn't? That's an opportunity of dawah. Who turns away from that?
Well, when you want to control the dawah and the flow of information, you got to stand on those principles. Then Ibn Taymiyyah's words are quite lucid in how a Salafi Muslim must behave with ignorant Muslims. A sensible Muslim should ask questions. In a society where we are the minority, in the land of disbelief, how can Islam spread if we do not lead the ignorant and misled? Centrally, this group not only does not want to see Islam spread to the ignorant, they also desire no one else to teach but them. Be on guard when you see phrases like these. He has ties to.
This was said about Sheikh Tahir Wyatt. He has ties to the Nation of Islam. He had ties to the Farrakhan because he spoke. He had ties to it.
No.
Right?
No.
What else was said?
Connected with.
He's connected with so-and-so. Those particular brothers down here. Muhammad Munir is connected with them. Shadi Muhammad is connected with them. Ali Davis is connected with them. Go ahead.
Was a member of.
He was a member of such and such. Go ahead.
Prays at a masjid.
The masjid that he prays at. Just look at it. The Salafis are known with the Salafis.
He supports the likes of.
And he supports the likes of so-and-so. These are clear blanket statements.
The verdict by association creates a hasty generalization built upon unwarranted conclusion from insufficient evidence.
That was the whole talk of the That was whole talk. Sheikh Khalid.
Sheikh Khalid
Abdurrahman. Earthman. That was his whole talk just now when we just played at the beginning. This guilty by association caused many problems. And we didn't even finish his talk, which I'm going to finish after this. Go ahead.
Hence,
let's watch what he say.
Indoctrinated followers affected by this technique will say things such as, anyone who prays at that masjid is a deviant. Don't we hear that? Man, that brother not clear because he prays over there. That brother's not clear because he prays there. Just like the brother tried to use against me at Wasatiyah. The same thing. He saw me praying Jumu'ah there, and I was unclear because I prayed there, but he was praying there too. Obviously, because he seen me in this. SubhanAllah. The propagandist never has to declare such a statement as long as the readers and followers proclaim the verdict for them and remain loyal. Now, this is what I said about Charles Manson. Charles Manson never killed anybody. All he said, I thought it, and people just followed my lead. He never said it, just like he's saying here. He says, the propagandists, the heads of this organization, which is Hassan Maalik, Abu Khadeejah, Hassan Somali, Kaashif Khaan, all of them, the propagandists never has to declare such statements. They never have to come out and say it themselves. As long as the readers and followers proclaim the verdict for them and remain loyal. Most cases of verdicts by association concerning individuals and masjids maintain readership and mind control with information built upon sensationalism.
So listen, we say this, brothers and sisters, when you see anyone that have been, and all of us, man, we all have been influenced and have benefited from our brothers throughout the years. So be easy on the people. Yes, they're going to get in the comments. They're going to say things that are bad, negative. They only lashing out because they are confused and they're starting to question things. And the more that they listen, see, they're trained not to listen to stuff like this because it's going to bother them. And the more that they listen and the more that they hear, it's going to make them question and keep questioning. So they're going to go through a state what we call denial. And then they're going to try to defend those particular brothers. And in reality, this is what they're going to do. So they're going to bring out shubuhat. And they're going to say that the ulama should be the ones that deal with this issue. The ulama are dealing with the issue. If anyone can attest that what me and Issa have been doing, regardless of what you want to say, it seemed like we're bashing. We have been bringing nothing but statements of ulama since we started this.
Talking about this specific issue.
Talking about specifically this issue.
And naming some people by name.
From it.
And naming some of the people by name.
What the people have done is, Hassan Somali don't have to get on the video and say anything. Kaashif Khaan don't have to follow the video and say anything. They got the followers who have been indoctrinated and affected by this. They going to fight for it. They don't even know why they fighting. They don't even not asking themselves, why haven't they brought clear evidence against everyone that they laid charge against?
SubhanAllah. Let me read this before we go on. He brought a good point here.
No, this point with the Ali Davis thing. Ali Davis is no longer the imam of this masjid. Yeah. So when he make this, he's talking about 15th Street.
Nah.
That's the reason why I was going to leave it off. Because he's no longer the imam of that masjid.
But him being properly trained, it's not about our brothers being deviant. It's about them being properly trained and have the ability over them in some type of virtue over these brothers. And it's out of jealousy that they're attacking these brothers' honor.
Nah. Listen. The end is more important.
لو فتحنا باب الإلحاد كهذا الفتح لطعنا في كثير من علمائنا قديم.
He said if we open this door and we let you youth run rampant, basically, that's how I'm understanding it. We open this door and we allow the youth to run rampant in this situation, in this extremism of ilhaq, of joining people by association. If we allow this to happen, then what's going to happen? He said, then we will criticize many of our own scholars of old and new.
Yeah.
Look, the Sheikh is not using double standards. The Sheikh is not using double standards. And may Allah preserve all of our brothers that we mentioned with this challenge upon good. The Sheikh is not using double standards here. He's saying you're going to have to do this.
Well, let's try not to mention the sins of the brothers, because the issue we're talking about is actually worse than sin. The innovation of extremism and cult characteristics and hizbiyah is actually worse than their sins. And we don't want to attack the brothers' honor and stuff like that. We want to try to stay clear of saying that the brothers are fiends and sex fiends and all this type of stuff like that. We don't want to get into that. We just want to keep it about what they're doing inside the religion.
He says, so what did we used to hear from Ibn Abbas? That's Sheikh Abdullah ibn Abbas, the Mufti. He used to be the former Mufti. Rahmatullah ta'ala alayh. When he used to praise Salman al-Awda and Sawfa al-Hawali and al-Najmi and Sheikh Rabi' meaning Sheikh Ahmed Najmi and Sheikh Rabi' bin Hadi al-Maqali were criticizing them both at that time. What we're going to say about Sheikh Ibn Baz? Is we going to say that Sheikh Ibn Baz is guilty for praising the likes of these individuals? He's Mumayyi'. He have tamyir. He's someone who's softened towards the innovators. Is we going to say this?
على سلمان وصفر والنجمي والربيع يقدحون فيهما. ماذا نفعل في ابن عثيمين حين كان يثني على.
So what are we going to do about Sheikh Uthaymeen? He used to praise the likes, or he used to praise the likes of Jama'at al-Tabligh in Saudi alone. And at a time where Sheikh Al-Albani rahmatullah alayhi was saying that they were the Sufiya of the era, of that era. You didn't hear Sheikh Al-Albani say don't go listen to Sheikh Uthaymeen.
No.
You didn't hear him say he got tamyir. And it's interestingly enough, as we keep saying over and over before, this word tamyir didn't even exist with the Salaf.
Actually started with Sayyid Qutb.
جماعة التبليغ في السعودية فقط في الوقت الذي يقول الألباني صوفية عصرية. ماذا نفعل بالألباني حين كان يثني على عبد الرحمن عبد.
So what we're going to do with Sheikh Al-Albani himself, when he used to praise Abdur Rahman Abdul Khalid, right? He used to be one of his students. At a time where Sheikh Rabi' was criticizing him. That means we have to say now that Sheikh Al-Albani, right?
No.
He's guilty by association for his praises.
في الوقت الذي كان الشيخ ربيع يطعن فيه. أتدري ما معنى الإلحاق بلا ضوابط؟
He said, do you know what the meaning of guilty is by association? Joining or aligning people along with their minhaj without any evidence? He said, you know what the meaning of this is? It's called al-haddadiyya.
معناه الحدادية. معناه الحدادية.
That's what it is. He said, ma'nahu, its meaning is al-haddadiyya. Al-haddadiyya, brothers and sisters, it is extremity. It is people taking individuals due to some mistake or mishap or anything that they do, or they see them walking, or presume mistake, even with their little bit of knowledge. As we had Anwar Wright, he's going to come back and clarify the doubts of Sheikh Wasil al-Abbas. You don't understand the correlation there? First of all, how you presume Anwar Wright, you little student, compared to Sheikh Wasil al-Abbas, going to come back and clarify the words of Sheikh Wasil al-Abbas in defense of Abu Khadeejah? How can you do that? When you were better off just calling the Sheikh. You were just better off calling the Sheikh and presenting Sheikh, this is what we know of the brother. This is such and such. Sheikh, I believe that you might have been in your talk, and you might have been a bit harsh towards the brother, so forth and so on. Not get on social media, and now you can put it on Twitter, now you can put it on YouTube, but now we are the fitna makers. Me and Isa and Abu Isa. We are the ones that's not holding the brother's honor up. We're the ones that are attacking them. We're the ones that's supporting the Hizbis. We're the ones that's using cyberspace. But you the same guys that have been using Twitter as a tool for years. You're the same guys that have been using YouTube for years. You're the same guys that have been using lectures for years. You're the same guys that have no problem mentioning anybody's names, but soon when someone get on you, it's, oh, the brothers, they don't know what they're talking about. They're not students. And now let's address the doubt. Return back to the scholars. Let's address this doubt. Because this is a doubt, brothers and sisters. Why are they not returning back to the scholars and let the scholars deal with the issue? Why do you think they keep saying that? First and foremost, you need to understand something. Why they do not return back to the scholars? Brothers and sisters, I ask you, have we not used the statement of the scholars?
That's all we've been using.
That's all we've been using. We all been using the statements of the scholars.
No.
Scholar said this, scholar said that, scholar said that. So why are we not returning back to the scholars? Or what scholars do you want us to return back to? What scholars do you want us to say something to? Because now you're saying we're not using the scholars. We're using the scholars. The problem is no one wanted to listen to what the scholars are actually saying.
Well, this is the thing. You yourselves returned back to the scholars in that agreement, and you didn't keep to it. You yourselves returned back to Sheikh Rabia, the situation between Akal Hadith in Germantown. You got back to America, didn't take the other Sheikh's advice then. How many times are we going to keep returning back to the scholars, going flying overseas, spending all this ticket money for you just to play games when you get back here? No, the issue is this. We are returning this issue back to the scholars. We're using the statements of scholars who are mentioning you guys by name, and they're saying harsher words by calling you liars, saying you're ignorant, don't take from me. We haven't even went that far. We're just now wanting you to respond to what we have produced to you and what we have said to you in these videos. That now it's upon you to respond like men, academically, legislatively, with proofs and evidence.
Allah Jalla wa Ala, He says in the Quran in Surah Baqarah, He said, وَقَالُوا لَنْ يَدْخُلَ الْجَنَّةِ إِلَّا مَنْ كَانَ هُودًا أَوْ نَصَارًا تِلْكَ أَمَانِيُّهُمْ قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Allah says about the Jews and the Christians, they say that you will never, telling the Muslims, you will never enter paradise except that you be a Jew or a Christian. So Allah said, تِلْكَ أَمَانِيُّهُمْ. Say, this is their desires. This is from their whims and their desires. Meaning they made this up. قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Say to them, O Muhammad, bring your proof if you are truthful. Pay attention. Imam Sa'di, he says in his tafsir to this verse, and this goes to the point where we get ready to mention. Imam Sa'di, after mentioning that this verse was about the Jews and the Christians, after explaining all of that, he mentioned something that they have made ruling for themselves, paradise alone. And this was only due to their desires, their whims. And it was not accepted without any evidence or proof. And so they was charged to bring the proof. But look what he said. He said, likewise, this go for anyone who makes a claim. Abu Hassan Maalik, you have made a claim against your brothers. Like Tahir Wyatt, you have made a claim. Like Kaashif Khaan, you have made a claim against Tahir Wyatt. Khaan, you have made a claim. Like Anwar Wright, you have made a claim against Tahir Wyatt, against Muhammad ibn Munir, against Shadid Muhammad. Also Abu Hassan likewise. Hassan Somali, you have made a claim. Hamzah Razzaaq, you have only made a claim and you went overboard. You said that the fitna of Tahir Wyatt, which you don't even have half amount of the knowledge that the brother have, but the fitna of Tahir Wyatt is worse than drinking, and that of Shadid Muhammad is worse than drinking what?
Alcohol
and having a girlfriend. You made a claim. All of you brothers made a claim. Look what Sheikh Sa'di said. لا بد أن يقيم برهان على صحة دعواه. The person now have to establish the evidence for whatever claim that he made.
Exactly.
He now has to establish the evidence for every claim that he made.
And it has to be convincing evidence from Quran and Sunnah with the statements and the actions of the person, with the Quran and Sunnah now refuting those statements and actions clearly.
Look what he said. وَإِلَّا, and if he do not, فَلَوْ قَبِلَتْ عَلَيْهِ دَعْوَاهُ وَادَّعَى مُدَّعٍ أَقْسَمَ ادَّعَى بِلَا بُرْهَانٍ لَكَانَ الْفَرْقَ بَيْنَهُمَا. If a person presents some evidence, and that evidence, for example, is accepted, and the person made a claim, meaning the one who makes the claimant, is an opposite of that which he's claiming without any clear evidence, then there will be no difference between the two, because the burhan huwa alladhi yusaddiq da'wa aw yukadhibuha.
Subhanallah.
Because the evidence is what confirms the claim. The person that makes the claim, his evidence is what makes it truthful. If he do not have evidence,
then he's a liar.
Then he's a liar. وَلَمَّا لَمْ يَكُنْ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ بُرْهَانٍ عَلِمَ كَذَّبَهُمْ بِتِلْكَ الدَّعْوَى. So the Sheikh said, when these people do not establish their evidence for their claims, and they're not supported by the proof, then we know from them that they are liars.
Exactly.
With this claim. We don't accept it. They become liars. Brothers and sisters, these brothers have not responded to any of the videos that we have been putting forth, any of the legitimate questions that we have been asking. Rather, they have been doing what they've been doing. And they accuse us of going around seeking faults of the Muslims, going on Twitter, finding their statements. You got that right. We are going to find your statements, because you're making the statements public for everyone to see. You're making statements. These are some of the statements that they made, and I want brothers and sisters to listen to these statements. because the questions that we have been asking are legitimate. And the proof that we have been bringing are legitimate. And they now need to come back and respond against everything that they claim, because we're claiming that what they have is insufficient. Now they need to please bring it to us that what they have is sufficient. And let's look what they said about us.
It says, Umar Quinn retweeted. Marquez Mu'adh. A reminder to the YouTube and social media muftis. Now, let's stop right there. Firstly, it's a slander. So it's no academics, no Quran, no Sunnah, no statement of the A'imma, of the Imams of the Sunnah. It's a slander. He started off with a slander. I don't know how they think that's replying academically, but let's keep going. How sad is it that many have left off the scholars for these social media entertainers? Another slander. It's a man, then he brings an isolated statement of one of the Salaf. Let's read it. A man told me that he entered upon Rabi' ibn Adir, ibn Abdurrahman, and found him crying. So he said to him, "What makes you cry?" He was alarmed by his crying and said, "It is a calamity that has befallen you." Rabi'a replied, "No, rather someone who has no knowledge of the religion was asked for a fatwa, an Islamic verdict, and a great and terrible affair appeared in Islam." Rabi'a added, "And indeed, some of those who give fatwas over here are more deserving of being imprisoned than the thieves."
Now, this isolated statement of Imam Maalik is actually report about this story here. I understand where the brothers are trying to attempt with this. But number one, their whole argument is refuted for the simple fact that we haven't passed one verdict.
Yeah.
We haven't passed one fatwa.
Who we call the deviant.
We haven't passed, and there's a difference between a hukm and a fatwa, but we haven't did any hukm.
Either hukm or fatwa.
Or fatwa. So we haven't did anything. And for those who claim that we use the statement quote characteristics, and we use the statement quote, so this is a hukm, we're trying to say the brothers upon his biyah. Then we say that Sheikh Wasil al-Abbas said Abu Khadeejah and his followers. He labeled anyone who think like Abu Khadeejah and on with Abu Khadeejah on as a follower of Abu Khadeejah.
That's a quote in a his.
That's a characteristic of a quote. So ain't nothing wrong with us saying quote characteristics in that regard. If you really want to look at the technical definition of a quote. Characteristics. So, where is we passing any rulings? Number two, where are we? And when they saying this to the followers. They don't want y'all to look at the videos. Don't come on and look at the YouTube or social media guys. Don't listen to them, because they're trying to take the place of the scholars. We haven't told y'all that. We've been quoting the scholars nonstop. You brothers still haven't responded legislatively. Let's go on to the next tweet before I bring Sheikh Rabi'a, because now I'm going to bring Sheikh Rabi'a at the end of this.
And we say to our brother Umar Quinn.
No, go on. We already read that. That's Imam Maalik's statement. Yeah. Umar Quinn.
And we say to Umar Quinn, our brother, may Allah, heal the brother, but you got to fear Allah, akhi. These type of statements like that. First of all, these particular athar that you're bringing, we're talking about Ahlul Bid'ah. So are you saying now that me and Abu Zayd are from Ahlul Bid'ah? That's a hukum.
First, read it first.
It says, Umar Quinn says, the caravan keeps moving on while the dogs stay barking. SubhanAllah, we're dogs. Those who crave notoriety won't get it, while those tested with it don't want it.
Okay, so this statement here is to egg on and to encourage their followers to not pay attention to the legitimate questions that we have, the legitimate, we're testing some of their criticism. Mm-hmm. Mostly we're testing all of their criticism.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're asking them to bring proof. So instead of them engaging us in an academic sense and responding to us, they put out statements isolated like this that are meant for Ahlul Bid'ah, number one. Mm-hmm. Then, you're not going to come out and say, all right, we're Ahlul Bid'ah.
No.
Do you not find it interesting, brothers and sisters, that you haven't heard one thing from these brothers? That Masjid ibn Taymiyyah or Maktab ibn Taymiyyah, they haven't said one thing about us that we are Ahlul Bid'ah?
And they haven't mentioned us by name?
You yourselves haven't even placed the hukam on us.
No. They haven't clearly made one out statement responding back to legitimate questions. They haven't done what they usually do. We're Ahlul Bid'ah, we're not clear. They have not returned one academic response. We're not talking about calling us dogs. We're not talking about using isolated statements of the Salaf, trying to point to the fact that we're deviants. We're not talking about saying something about us in a class setting. We're trying to say, where's the academic response for you not keeping to your agreement with Sheikh Muhammad ibn Hadi,
to your agreement with Sheikh Rabia to come back and rectify things with Aql Hadith and the brothers here in Philly. Not boycotting, not giving fatwa, not dealing with Jah wa Ta'dil. Where's the academic response to us saying that the principles that you're using, that we've been responding to for a month now with our videos, that you have not responded academically with Quran and Sunnah, with a statement of any of the Salaf, responding back to us in a brotherly way? You have not done it, because if the truth was with you, you respond right away, as Sheikh Rabia did when Sheikh Mahmoud Luthi Amr disagreed with him in his book Majid al-Tawheed. Sheikh Rabia respond automatically to Sheikh Mahmoud. Automatically. Why? Because he felt that the truth was with him. He wasn't hiding. The problem is that if the truth is with you, and what you've been doing for the last 20 years is the truth, why can't you defend it? And why haven't you responded to any of our claims or any of our questions to what you guys are doing? That's all we want. An academic response, not slander.
So here we have Sheikh Rabia response to Fawzi al-Bahrain, Sheikh Fawzi al-Bahrain. And interestingly enough, Sheikh Falah and Sheikh Fawzi, these particular brothers we're talking about, are heavy influenced by their minhaj, by their tactics and their principles. They have not left up off of that. Henceforth, listen what Sheikh Rabia said. He said, فَقَدْ اطَّلَعْتُ عَلَى مَقَالٍ لِمَنْ يُسَمِّي بِفَوْزِ الْأَثَرِ تَحْتَ عُنْوَانٍ. He said, indeed, I have saw with my own eyes, I came across some statements that were made by the one who called himself or gave himself the title Fawzi or Al-Athari, right? Under the title where I heard him speaking and saying some things, right, against me. Sheikh Rabia, after seeing this, immediately defend his position.
No.
Immediately refute that which the claims that Fawzi were making. These brothers and sisters, if they had the haqq with them, why have they failed to follow in the steps of Sheikh Rabia? Why have they failed to mention anything to defend their position? Ask yourself that. Why haven't they came back and said, no, we stick by the refutation of Sheikh Tahir because Sheikh Tahir did so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. Here is his statement. It's clear. This is the evidence. Ayat, hadith, so-and-so. We went to the scholars. We stick with this with Sheikh Muhammad Munir. We stick this with this person, Wali Davis. Why didn't they bring these proofs?
They haven't.
They haven't responded. We show you another point. The people, they were making fun of Musa alayhi salatu salam, and this is a messenger. They were making fun of him, meaning his natural makeup. They were talking about his body, okay? And they said something about Musa, that he doesn't have any, so forth, hair or something like that.
Something was wrong with his skin.
Something was wrong with his skin. It was blemish why he looked like that. Immediately Allah Jalla wa Ala, He فَبَرَّأَهُ اللَّهُ, right? فَبَرَّأَهُ اللَّهُ مِمَّا قَالُوا. Allah Jalla wa Ala, He freed Musa immediately. What did He do? He caused the rock to run off with his clothes. The rock ran off with his clothes, and as he was beating, he beat the rock, right? He was chasing the rock saying, my throat, my throat, my throat. So he came out in front of Bani Israel that was making these claims against him, until they saw that his body was clear and free of any blemish. This was Allah Jalla wa Ala upholding the honor of His messenger. Defending the haqq is honor, and it's honorable. If the haqq is with you, brothers, then why are you not saying nothing? And don't give me the saying, we don't listen to the fools, we don't listen to those who get notoriety, because in reality, we're not being the fools. We're just asking you legitimate question. Where's the jar mufassar? Where is the detailed criticism?
Where's it at?
Where's the convincing evidence?
Yes.
Where's the clear absolute evidence? That's all we want to know, so that maybe we can join your side. Maybe we can understand and say, you know what? The brothers, they had it right all along. The brothers was correct about so-and-so.
Exactly.
The brothers were correct about this position. Let's follow them in that. Then we can uphold your honor. But so this is the reason why Sheikh Rabia was saying to Sheikh Fali. He said it's going to backfire on you if you do not bring clear evidence.
Exactly.
If you don't bring clear evidence, the people now are going to turn on you. And that's just what happened to you,
brothers.
What
happened. That's what happened. But the thing about it, eventually, you kick a dog will bite you back. The issue is that you're not going to keep kicking us. You're not going to keep kicking our people. You're not going to keep dividing us. You're not going to keep slandering us. You're not going to keep hijacking the dawah. You're not going to keep making salafiyyah ugly. It's time. It's over. It's finished. We're going to keep coming until you either stand down, make tawbah for what you've done, and the fitna that you've caused. We're not trying to destroy your honor. We don't mention your sins. We don't mention anything people may say about you, about all these other accusations, stuff like that. We're not into that. But what we're all going to do, which we have done to salafiyyah, and within the religion of Allah, we're not letting you get away with it anymore. Not in this town.
Now, another thing I want to mention, and to answer the question, you can refer back to clarifying the doubts on why, we can give advice publicly. We answered the question. For many people want to know, have we tried to contact the brothers since we went through the social media route? Have we ever tried to, iron it out? Let me be clear, frankly, with you. We've been contacting the brothers way longer than you think. Everybody been wanting to work with the brothers. Everybody been wanting to sit down with the brothers. Me, myself, I had about 3 different meetings. I had Somali tell me to my face that he would never work with me in the field of dawah. I have the individual call me a jahil. He has said that I got blind fanaticism, sword tahir. These are actual statements that were actually made to me by our brother Hassan Somali. I had Abu Hassan Maalik. I used to sit in his classes. I had him tell me up in Germantown, when I said come down and open up a class, what did he tell me? We should talk. And I never heard from him again. I have many of the different brothers that we contact, whether it's from Abu Yusuf Khalifa, that we asked to come down here, and they didn't come down here. When it was Umar Quinn, when he came here, and he didn't come down here. We have many of the brothers that was there that we asked to do and work with and had ta'awun with. When I contact Anwar, when statements were made, Anwar asked me how did I get the number. He didn't return the greetings. So all that, we dealt with that. That's over with. The brothers don't want to work with nobody. So let's stop being in denial. They don't want to work with nobody. And all that, we trying to iron it out, come up here and see us. It ain't going to be nothing but people measuring themselves, men up there with their test tolerance, let's holler and argue, because they don't got no evidence. They're not strong as what you're making them out to be. And if they were, they could have present arguments based on evidence.
Exactly.
Sheikh Rabia didn't let a person say something about him and didn't do nothing. I'm going to show you a clear example of what's going on. We just did a video with Muhammad Munir, and many of you saw this video. Some of the fanatics of these individuals that followed them, because I don't believe it was them, I believe some of the fanatics that followed them, because I feel sorry for the brothers. The brothers been taking a spanking from us from the past 2 months, and they haven't responded. I want to respond for them. I probably want to go look up and do some best to probably help them out. So I understand why the fanatics, what they would do. They went and took Mufti video. Wallahi, this is what they did. And they took about a 5-minute clip of it. And they said, not even that much, like 4 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And they said, Mufti even said he's a deviant. Be careful who you take your
Actually, it was like a minute.
Yeah, careful. No, it was like 4. Careful who you take your knowledge from. And they post this up on YouTube. They took this little section out and put it up there. And the followers only did this because they felt as though they had to defend the brothers who ain't saying nothing. And what looked bad is the followers just made you bad. Oh, alhamdulillah, with 56 seconds. It was 56 seconds. It was 56 seconds. It was real short that they took out of the whole video. Right? And then they posted up there on YouTube. Because the followers feel bad for them.
Because he explained his statement before and after that, though.
Yeah, the brother already made it clear not to defend them. So we're not here. We're not going to defend that. That's anyone with a brain or anyone with intellect can go back and look at the video and see what they're saying.
But wasn't that
true.
be like, for example, when Ibrahim destroyed the idols? And what did his people say? Come and defend your guys. We're not saying that the brothers are guys, but the same concept. The same concept is, let's go defend. The people of Ibrahim said, let's defend our guys. Let's defend them, because the guys couldn't defend themselves. These idols couldn't defend themselves. The problem is the fanatics are now going to try to defend their leadership because their leadership can't defend themselves.
They can't. People are arguing up there. They want to know what's going on. The brother said that you said this about Ali Davis. Okay, general statements. The Sheikh just said that. Sheikh Khalid just said we don't do general statements. You cause a lot of problems like that.
Exactly.
Sheikh Raheli, the same thing. A lot of problems like that.
No.
You have to bring detail. Sheikh Wasil al-Abbas, you already gave Abu Khadeejah spanking. Sheikh Suhaimi, the same thing. We don't need to sit around here and say, let's go back and call the scholars.
The scholars already giving them a spanking.
The scholars already telling you what they are, right? Now, what we need to do, because ain't no scholar, and I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, they're using this as a ploy. Ain't no scholars going to come from Saudi Arabia and come over here and iron out the problems that you people can iron out yourself. You allowed a group of individuals, no matter who they are, you didn't care whether or not how strong they was academically or anything. You thought the best of them, and I understand that. We had good thoughts for our people. But you couldn't fathom or conceive that these brothers might have a sickness in their hearts. Like Sheikh Shamiri said. And they might have a sickness in their heart, and they might have saw the fame, they might saw the status, they might saw the this. This is what Abu Wais Rahimahullah was talking about.
No.
Love for leadership. They might have saw these things. Henceforth, they don't want to work with nobody. Henceforth, they always talk about people. You heard what Mufti said. They already was going against me way before I was even.
No.
It was never about Tahir White. So now you have to look and ask yourself, what are these brothers doing? These brothers been doing this way back in Yemen, from Sheikh Al-Kashif interview. They have been testing him way back from Yemen. They've been doing this. So you have to ask yourself, what is the agenda with these brothers? I'm going to give it to you raw and straight before we close this video out. Some of you not going to like what I'm getting ready to say. A lot of you followers of these brothers and y'all affected. Trust me, I used to take from them. And I still have love. And may Allah Jalla wa Ala preserve them upon good. I hate that which have become and what they have done, but I still have love.
And may Allah forgive them for the evil they've done.
Now I'm going to bring this up. There are a group of brothers, and we're going to address this in our next video dealing with the heads. There are a group of brothers who have some sickness in their hearts, and they saw an opportunity to use the scholars in a way that they can gain control of the dawah in the West. What they did is what we call cherry picking. Ask yourself this critical question. Which one of them is a student of Sheikh Rabi'? Number 2, which one of them is a student of Sheikh Ubaid? Number 3, which one of them is a student of Sheikh Muhammad ibn Hadi al-Maqali? None of them are students of these particular scholars. So now let's go back. Sheikh Rabi' been refuting people for the longest. Alhamdulillah. The scholars have praised him. He's from the major scholar.
No.
These brothers got whiff of that. They understood that. What did they do? They took the opportunity to make a his around the Sheikh.
Subhanallah.
We're going to uphold the Sheikh. They made a his around the Sheikh, and then they call themselves getting close by going to go visit the Sheikh.
No.
Every time we're going to go visit the Sheikh, this is what we're going to do. And this is how cunning they became. They came to an imam, a brother who took an imam position here in Philadelphia. They came to this man, and they told this man for him to come to this city and not check in with them was like him going to Mecca and not visiting Sheikh Rabi'. This is when Sheikh Rabi' lived in Mecca. Now he lives in Medina. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve the Sheikh health.
Allahumma ameen.
They said, you're coming here. Listen, Hamzah Razzaaq, he was present. Abu Hassan Maalik was present. And this is recorded. The brother recorded them. They told him, you're coming here to Philadelphia and not checking in with us. It's like going to Mecca and not visiting Sheikh Rabi'ah's
This
house.
is delusion. People.
This is gulag.
This is delusion. Extremism.
That's what it is.
And it's not obligatory that when you go to Mecca to visit Sheikh Rabi'. That's not an obligation upon you. So if that's not an obligation, somebody at that status, how's an obligation to come to Philadelphia and visit people who haven't finished any science, and not even the students of that particular scholar? They saying you should visit when you go to Mecca. They haven't finished one science. Some of them haven't finished the Arabic program.
SubhanAllah.
Some of them haven't finished a book with one scholar, not one book with a scholar.
And it's not to negate all, like we said, it's not to negate the fact that they have good.
This is to show what's going on.
And also to notice that the brothers that they were talking about, that they was making all of this fuss about, like Mufti said, we was all friends before. These brothers they was making about, they all agree on Aqidah. They all agree on Usul. All of them believe in the same principles of Aqidah. None of them ever accused Tahir for going outside the Aqidah of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah.
Nope.
None of them ever accused Muhammad Munir for going outside. Yes, we know that our brother Shadid Muhammad made a statement that it wasn't the best way of saying it, and the scholar told him that. Best wording that he placed, and he made that statement that they didn't disagree in the usul, and this statement was made. But yet and still, all of them agree on the principles of Aqidah. So now, let's move over. They don't argue about the principles of fiqh.
No.
None of them are arguing with Muhammad Munir about a fiqh position.
No.
Or Sheikh Tahir about a fiqh position. So if it's not about Aqidah, and it's not about fiqh,
What is it about?
then what is it about? Because if you want to say it's minhaj, according to what minhaj? All the scholars that you're talking about is saying opposite of you. We just showed you that through all of these videos.
It's just according to a Hadadiyya manhaj and a Hizbiyya
What minhaj?
That's what it's according to.
Like, exactly. It's called a sickness in the heart, which is hasan. There is jealousy. And brothers and sisters, the Prophet ﷺ said, Kullu ni'mah. And he said, Kullu ni'mah mahsood. He said that every blessing, he didn't separate it. He said every blessing. And from the top blessing is fiqh of Allah's deen. If Allah loves a person, He gives him fiqh of His deen. So the brothers who have fiqh of the deen, that Allah blessed them with some knowledge and some understanding and some implementation and some jewels to be able to reach heights to teach their people, what happened is, that's a ni'mah. And that ni'mah is envy. But now you have to ask yourself, there are two types of envy. There's the negative envy, and then there's the permissible envy. The brothers, what they do is, we want to blind, we put blindfolders on. Any one of us can have envy, negative or positive. Or negative.
Blood brother. That was his blood
I
brother.
have permissible envy for Sheikh Tahir and Muhammad Munir.
Nah.
Even Ali Davis. Even Saeed Abu Sajid.
Nah.
Even the brothers, I have permissible envy. Those who have spent their time and dedication to learning knowledge. Those who have spent their time. I have that permissible envy. But you know what I do? Sheikh Uthaymeen, he mentioned in his book, Kitab al-Ilm. He said, whenever you feel inside your heart, and one of the remedies for jealousy is that you make dua and ask Allah Jalla wa Ala, oh Allah, bless and increase that person. And give me the same or give me better.
That's it.
It's the dua you make.
You don't want it going from them, you just want it. You
Exactly.
want it. That's it, but you don't want it going from the person.
But these brothers didn't do that.
No.
As Mufti showed you. These brothers want to remain on top. And we ask Allah Jalla wa Ala again. We ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to preserve the brothers upon goodness. But we're going to leave this here. Brothers and sisters, if these brothers do not respond back with clear evidence about any of the people that they're talking about, then we have established evidence that they are liars. It's either one, they are liars, they can't respond back. Two, they are incompetent to respond back, which shows their level, meaning that they shouldn't be talking at all. If they cannot, meaning they shouldn't be qualified enough to speak about these issues, meaning refuting people. Number three, what is the agenda for them not responding back to legitimate questions? What is the deviancy of Ali Davis? We need to know. What is the deviancy of Muhammad Munir? We need to know. What is the deviancy of Sheikh Tahir? We need to know.
Why have you kept to the agreement of Muhammad ibn Hadi? We need to know.
We need to know. What happened to the letter of Sheikh Rabi'? We need to know. Have you given and forsaken the principles that you learned from Sheikh Fali? We need to know.
We need to know.
Have you given up the principles that you learned from Sheikh Fawzi? We need to know. And if these brothers do not present it, brothers and sisters, you have all right to hold courts to believe that these brothers are liars.
And it's not going to blow over. You think you're just going to let it blow over? Because we're not going to stop. It won't blow over. Because every single time we're going to keep reminding you of your trust and your amendments you had on that agreement. Every time we're going to remind you of what you're doing, and we won't stop. We won't stop. And as far as I'm concerned, you people listening tonight, if these brothers, not with slander, not with isolated statements of the Salaf, not with calling people dogs and barking dogs, we're saying clear evidence, brotherly replies with Quran, statements of the Prophet, ﷺ, statements of the companions, bringing evidence about what you're upon, because the truth is with you. Why haven't you defended it? If you don't defend it, you're considered to be a liar in Islam.
And who we are servants of Allah. That's the highest thing you can be. We are servants of Allah. We don't have to be big names. We don't have to be top students. We don't have to be endorsed by so-and-so. We are servants of Allah, and we are brothers, and we are Muslims, and we live in this city, and we are tired. We are fathers. We are also brothers. We are also uncles. We are also cousins, and we are also community members. And we are also a part of the community. So yes, we are tired of our brothers hijacking the dawah and causing problems. And you should be tired too. There is no school. Sheikh Falah said this and you act like you want to ignore it. He called us deficient. You don't feel no type of way about that?
You have no wealth in your communities. All your women on welfare. All the women on Section 8. You have no social reform. You have no schools. Nothing. Their leadership has provided nothing except chaos. But you still got fanatics and cult members still want to keep holding these guys up. They have provided nothing for your community except hatred, anger, and chaos.
Brothers and sisters, have mercy for the people that comment negatively. I'm glad that they watching the video. Maybe something might enter their heart. There's going to be some doubt that's going to enter their heart, and they're going to have to go back and question those guys. Hey, these guys are claiming that you didn't do X, Y, and Z. And last but not least is the last point I want to bring. We learned that the Latatul Usul, the most basic thing for our Aqidah, that one of the things, the first thing we need to learn is that knowledge is based upon evidence. What did he say? Knowledge of Allah, knowledge of His Messenger, knowledge of the Deen of Islam,
There's proofs.
Pan Adillah. He need to Pan Adillah. Who are we talking about? Go back and replay this video. Replay other videos that we have, and you can find out. If you're not from this city, if you're not affected by this, then you don't need to be a part of this. As many of the sheikhs said, this don't apply to you. But for those who are a part of this and those who understand that it's affecting their community, then they are the ones who are listening to this, and they are the ones who we are intending with this speech, inshaAllah ta'ala. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.